Ladies and gentlemen, the ceasefire is effectively broken. Iran has been attacked and they now attack the Gulf countries back. And we also have the Straits of Hormuz still remaining shut and there are no tankers that have gone through. So effectively, the ceasefire is not happening. What has caused that? Who is causing all this? What's the implication in the financial market? Let's watch on. So we have all hoped that the end to the war will happen, and we also hope that the oil flow will now resume, and therefore the oil crisis is over, and as a result, the stock market will continue to go up. Well, guys, I think we are too hopeful, and I think the right answer is wait long, it's not over. So remember, hit subscribe as I send to you this breaking news, and in fact, the crisis is very far from over. So yesterday in our live stream, we actually make some prediction, and about 80% of our community in the live stream predicted that there will be a ceasefire collapse, and about 70% of you said that the Straits of Hormuz will effectively remain closed or on slow drip. Well, guys, you are all correct, and I'm surprised that you are so correct so fast. I didn't expect it to collapse so fast, and I think that this is effectively there wasn't even any form of success in this ceasefire. So the ceasefire collapsed within hours, and the whole market celebrated for nothing. Everyone was happy that the ceasefire is over. The stock market went up ferociously. The oil market came down ferociously. Guys, I think we're celebrating too fast, too quickly. So, first of all, the trigger point was Lebanon Island. Lebanon Island is a oil refinery island that's owned by Iran. It was struck approximately at 10 a.m., just hours after the ceasefire began. And Iran obviously was very angry and they started retaliating. And where did they retaliate? Well, they retaliate against the Gulf countries. So UAE was being hit, Kuwait was being hit, and Kuwait in particular was hit quite badly. The oil and other energy infrastructure was being hit badly. So effectively, now war has started again. So the ceasefire basically has ended and it's war over again. Now, question really is, who attacked Iran in the Lebanon Island? Well, this is a place where I need to say the most likely culprit is Israel, but Israel said, I didn't. On the other hand, the Americans obviously have the best interest not to break the ceasefire because Trump is very convicted on tacoing and remaining tacoed. So I don't think he's the one that's likely to break the ceasefire, and I don't think his people like to break the ceasefire. And they outright say that, no, we did not fire. So who on earth fired? And that's a great question for everybody to guess. Well, as UAE and Kuwait was being hit, Saudi Arabia and Bahrain were also being attacked by incoming strikes and their defense system fully engaged. I don't think there were actually damage caused in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, but clearly this is an all-out war, no ceasefire to talk about. Now, there were reports that UAE was the country that sent Mirage fighters to go and hit Iran. And if that is so, this will be the first time I see Gulf countries striking back. But why do they want to hit? Is it because it's not in their interest to have a ceasefire? And by the way, this is a very fragile ceasefire because there are stakeholders in this whole exercise. Maybe exercise is the wrong word. This war right now that doesn't want the ceasefire to continue. So I think this is a very interesting development, and I would say that there are more to come. So to be frank, the ceasefire was misunderstood from day one. So Iran basically said that I want ceasefire to happen not just between me and US and Israel, and I will not strike the Gulf countries, but I also want Israel not to strike everybody around them, including Lebanon. Then Israel continued to strike Lebanon very hard. And they say that no, Lebanon is not part of ceasefire. And then later US, who originally said that it's included, now flip and say it's not included. So this basically is a no deal to Iran, and Iran said, okay, if that's the case, we are not going to keep our end of our bargain. So the attack on Lebanon was one of the fiercest ever. there was 100 strike within, I think, 10 minutes or something like that. Airstrike, bombs and things like that. And there were 250 people got killed. Of course, a lot of civilians got killed. You can see whole building collapse and things like that. It was really an all-out attack on Lebanon, and I thought that was really aggressive. So as a result, given that Israel struck Lebanon, Iran, which holds the trump card, basically says, okay, like that, all right, we're going to keep the Straits of Hormuz shut. So since the signing of or rather the agreement of the ceasefire, there was no tankers that went through. No, right? Even before this breach of the ceasefire terms, Iran basically did not let any tankers go through. They did let some cargo ships go through, but basically nothing has went through that is material. So do you think the crisis is over, guys? I think we're celebrating a little bit too early. So right now, there is no flow of oil across the Straits of Hormuz because, number one, Iran was being hit and they hit back. And number two, Lebanon is being hit and Iran considered a violation of the terms of the ceasefire. So I don't think we're going to see a ceasefire being actually prevailing. Now, just to be very clear, right now, we do not just have a stoppage of flow of oil. So there are two problems right now. We have got the Straits of Hormuz closed and increasingly more and more energy infrastructure, refineries being hit. So this is a double supply shock. So as times goes by, the refinery get more hit. So this is a serious supply shock of a magnitude far worse than that of 1973. And I think that the market has not factored the part where the refinery is being damaged yet because nobody knows the full extent at this juncture. So clearly, right now, we are having a stalemate because the US position is trying to support the Israeli position. We are leaving Lebanon out of this. The Hezbollah needs to be taught a lesson. We'll continue to bomb them. And on the other hand, Iran's position say we want full ceasefire across the whole region, and now you're backing off from this agreement. We're gonna block the Straits of Hormuz. And Israel, who has got almost zero interest in a ceasefire, love to see this thing collapse, in my opinion. So let me tell you, I think this ceasefire will continue to be very, very fragile, and I don't think it will prevail for the next 2 weeks. So as I said, this is now an oil shock that's far worse than 1973. In 1973, the Arab country created oil embargo. They stopped the flow of oil, but it was a temporary shock. And they still had the ability to produce oil if they want. Of course, right, that caused inflation surge, and then, there's a lot of market volatility and things like that. But now, even if they want to produce oil, they may have an issue. So I think the worst is yet to come. So on the ceasefire, there was really never a ceasefire. So I think market is now trying to understand the full situation. And I would say that it's too early to be optimistic about the ceasefire. So what should we do? Well, it's difficult to predict what we should do because the situation is very volatile. It's not something that can be predicted by looking at valuations, by looking at charts or things like that. I think right now it is about getting yourself prepared for firing opportunity if you want, or preparing yourselves to shoulder this burden of inflation and possibly economic problems that comes with this inflation. So even our ministers and prime ministers are coming out to just tell everybody, even though we're okay, let's just get ourselves prepared. So at this juncture, let's watch on. Remember, hit subscribe as I break to you more and more important and life-changing news for many of us. So let's watch on, and I'll see you tonight in the live stream. Bye-bye. We're now in a Michelin star restaurant in Vietnam. And wow, the food looks really good. So I'm going to just start eating right now. Okay. And what's this? Oh, fantastic. Man moi, this way. Must come. This is duck. Roast duck.
Salting with the sour. If you want to cook more, you can do it in a hot stone long.
This one go with which one?
For two. It's salty with the sour.
This is what? Salty, sour?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now I'm looking at a hot stone duck meat. It looks really good. Okay. It looks really, really, really good. Wow, awesome. We're now in a very special beef hot plate, and this is allegedly one of the best in Vietnam. We're gonna try it, and we're gonna show you how yummy it is. Okay, we're gonna try it now. And how it goes. This is how we eat it. It's amazing, man. Wow, this is amazing. To die for, man. Really to die for. Very good. So you have got this gentleman here, this chef here that makes really wonderful food. Look at that, man. Wow. Okay. Really to die for. Okay. The whole shop is a simple shop. This is the name of the shop. Okay. I do not pronounce this, but this is what it is. Wow, look at that. Wow. Look at that, man. Woo. Put the egg inside. And that's it. Ready to eat. Really yummy. Super good. Really good.